Welcome to Coffee and Monsters. My name is Jeremy. Today I'm making Jasper the trick-or-treat monster. Start with some aluminum foil and shape out my armature. I use some bamboo skewers for legs. Trim them to length and drill some holes in a base and add them. I'm using some leftover clay from previous projects and just blending it all together and coming up with a nice color. This is all cosclay. I begin wrapping my armature, just getting everything covered, trying not to trap air pockets anywhere. Once it's all covered, I'll texturize it with a texture tool I've made from polymer clay. Once I've got the legs attached and the clay all blended, I'll touch up the textures. And we'll add his eyes. These are just glass cabochons with printed vinyl on the back. I'll wrap a little clay around those to hold them in place and build up his eyelids. Once I've blended all that in, I'll touch up those textures, add a few details. Now it's time to make Jasper's mouth. I'll start by just using a ball stylus and really pushing in to depress a space. I'll add a little black clay back in there so I don't have to worry about painting it. And I'm going to pre-bake him some really tiny teeth out of glow-in-the-dark clay. I'm just using my heat gun to cure them. And while those cool, I'll go ahead and make his little pumpkin. I'll get this small ball of foil covered in some orange clay, and we'll set that to the side and go back to the teeth. Now that they're cool, we'll add a little oven-baked clay adhesive to the end and poke them in place. We'll give him a small bottom lip. Now it's time to add some textures and details to the pumpkin pail. Using some oven-baked clay adhesive, I'm going to attach some glow-in-the-dark eyes to this guy and some glow-in-the-dark teeth. Now we'll go ahead and build Jasper some feet. I'll add a monster bone to support his pumpkin pail. A little bit of oven-baked clay adhesive where it'll attach. And we'll go ahead and add some candies in the top. Just use a piece of aluminum wire to make the handle for his pumpkin pail. Now I'll make his arms and hands. I'll go ahead and pre-bend this into the form I want it to be, and then attach it. Use a monster bone to support it at the shoulder. At this point, I'll go ahead and stamp my sculpture. Now for his costume. Jasper wanted to be a cat this year. Now add some ears. Now I'll brush him down with some isopropyl alcohol, get him in the oven to bake. Now that he's cooled, I'll sand him down, dust him off, get him ready for paint. Using the Folk Art Matte acrylics, I take a slightly lighter version of his base color and dry brush him everywhere to pull out the textures. And then I start highlighting his fingers and toes, ears and eyes, put a little darker color on the inner part of the ear, as well as stain up the teeth on both Jasper and his pumpkin. I'll paint both his cat ears black and the pumpkin orange just to give it a little more pop. And I sand down the aluminum wire and paint it black. Now I'll use a little triple thick gloss glaze on the teeth and the eyes. Then I paint some of his candies. Wrap him up a little sucker here. I'll put a couple coats of purple on his base, as well as some Mud Podge, which is just brown paint in my Mod Podge. And I sprinkle some static grass over that. Add a little wood glue to his supports and pop him down there and attach his candies. And with that, Jasper is all finished and ready to go trick-or-treating. As always, thanks for watching Coffee and Monsters. Hope you make it back next week. See you guys then.